So thanks for getting out of bed early, just so that we can get right back into a reclined position. These heart bench or heart bench variations are a good way to just let gravity open up the chest. Also, the position of the blocks or the towel, whichever you're using, kind of in between the shoulder blades, pushes those shoulder blades together. And if you think about it, it's the opposite of that shape we often take where the shoulders are rounded forward. So we're letting the props do the work here. If after this week of very strange weather, if anyone had to go anywhere in that, you walk around very hunched. And this is kind of the opposite of that. And it puts the ribs in a really nice position for you to be able to get some nice full access to the lungs. So just take a few breaths and really feel how much you can move the rib cage with your breathing. That noise is Fergie the dog, who was not excited to be in the other room. Not my stomach. As you're breathing here, notice how the back of the rib cage moves a little bit against those blocks. If you've got any particular spots of tension around the shoulder blades, almost feeling like you can move that tight muscle spot against your block or blanket can feel nice. If you've got a lot of pesky spots of tension, I recommend doing this and maybe using like a little tennis ball or something on top of the blanket. It'd be really nice. If you want extra shoulder stretch, you're going to take your arms behind your head and grab hold of opposite elbows. And take a few slow, deep breaths here. If it's hard to breathe, then either loosen the grip a little bit on your arms or maybe take your arms back down. You want to still be able to breathe with some ease. And I want you to think about your front ribs kind of dropping down, snugging them in towards your props. And then you're going to, if you've got arms above head, just go ahead and change the lineup. So the opposite forearm is on top. And just notice how that maybe changes sensation. We have a tendency to automatically go into the side that is more available. So you might find the second positioning of the arms is a little bit intense. Take a few more breaths. Then return your arms back by your side and just do palms down here. Take a few breaths here. I have to give us an end point for this pose because I feel like I could stay here for the rest of the morning. If you need to stay here for the rest of the morning, just stay down here. You can join us at any point during the practice. And then we're going to slowly peel ourselves up off the block or the blanket. And you're just going to turn yourself over and come right into a child's pose. So we've now kind of changed the impact of gravity onto our chest and shoulders. Do hands about at least as wide as your mat. You could go even wider. And then you're bringing your forehead towards the floor. You can grab also your blanket or one of those blocks and put it underneath your forehead. So this is really nice for keeping the back of the neck elongated. And you can also make a few little movements, kind of rolling your head from side to side. If the prop in the shoulder blade was maybe helping to work out a spot of muscle tension in the physical body, this act of rolling your forehead over something can also reduce some tension, whether it's, believe it or not, in the muscles of the face and the forehead and the head, but also if you have a lot of stress because you're thinking a lot and you're kind of processing so much as we are right now, almost like a massage to that thinking part of the brain. Soothing it, trying to get it to calm down a little bit. Take one more nice big deep breath in here. And then we'll exhale, come up to hands and knees. We're actually going to go right into a child's pose. No, this isn't a child, it's a downward dog. Pedal out the knees a little bit. Maybe sway your hips from side to side. You can rock a little bit forward and back. Stretch out the feet a bit. And then let's take a nice slow walk. Many tiny, tiny little steps. Feet up to the top of the hands. And then fold here. Get nice and heavy in this forward fold. Little bend in the knees. Shake the head. Yes and no. And then go ahead, roll yourself up to stand. Coming up to find a mountain pose. We'll do feet about hips width distance apart. Soften the knees. Feel where your pelvis is in space. You want the hips right over the heels. Shoulders draw back. But try not to let those front bottom ribs pull forward. Keep them dropping down. Back of the neck is nice and long. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, hands through heart center. Fold forward. Let's just bring our hands onto our shins. Inhale, lengthen the spine, lift the chest. I'm turning sideways again. But I still have a little bend in my knees, trying to get as long as I can with my spine. And then exhale, ragdoll, fold forward. Let's do that again. Inhale, come back up to stand. Sweep the arms up. If you'd like a little backward bend here, kind of bend your elbows. Pull your elbows back, lift your chest up. Take a breath in there. Come back up. Exhale, fold yourself forward. Hands come on the shins. Inhale, lengthen the spine, chest long. Exhale, fold, ragdoll. Inhale, come up to stand. Sweep the arms up, little backward bend. Bend the elbows, lift the chest. Exhale here. And then inhale, get tall. Exhale, fold forward. Hands on the shins. Inhale, lengthen the spine, get nice and long. Little ragdoll, exhale, fold. Inhale, come up to stand. Sweep the arms up, get tall. Exhale, little back bend, elbows back. Chest lifts up. Inhale to stand. Exhale to fold forward. Let's add on here. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, we're going to step left foot back into a nice long lunge. Feet are about hip width distance apart. Let's bring the left knee onto the ground. From here, you're going to inhale, sweep those arms back and up. Palms touch. And then exhale, just bring your hands to heart center. Drive your left hip forward. Drive your heart into your thumbs. Drop your shoulders down. Good. If this feels like you're kind of falling into the low back, try to lift up more. Get more support from that left leg. I'm pretty actively pressing my foot into the ground, firing up my left hip, heart to the thumb. Exhale, we're going to go hands to the ground. Step back, downward facing dog. So just feel this downward dog. Maybe a little more still than the first one. Feet are hip width distance apart, knees softly bent. Pull the tailbone up and back. Wrap your arms or rotate your arms in your shoulder sockets so your triceps are moving back towards your knees. And then again, teeny tiny little steps up to the top of your mat. Good, once you get there, fold belly towards the thighs. Inhale, come on up to stand, sweep the arms up. Exhale, bend the elbows, open up the chest. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, fold forward. Bring hands to your shins. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, we're going right foot back into that lunge. Then step far enough back that front knee is over ankle. And then we'll put back knee down, press into that foot. You can do the foot curled on, toes curled under or not, whatever makes more sense. Hips sink forward, keep the hips low. Inhale, sweep those arms back and up. And bring hands to heart center. Then we're going to breathe here. Extend the spine. Heart lifts up into the thumbs. Left hip pulls back, right hip pulls forward. Low back is long. Sink the hips forward. But take a nice big deep breath in here. Exhale, hands to the ground. Lift that back knee up. Step up to the top of the mat, fold. Inhale, come on up to stand, sweep the arms up. Exhale, bend the elbows, open up the chest. Inhale, tall. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, left leg's coming back into that lunge. Right knee over the ankle. Back knee is going down onto the ground. Active legs, hips forward. Inhale, nice big sweep. Arms come back and around. Exhale, prayer hand. Thumbs lift up, no. Chest lifts up to the thumbs. Collarbones are open and wide. Let's add on here a little twist. You're going to twist over to the right. Can you hook your left elbow towards your right knee? You might need help from the right hand, but you can adjust as needed. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist, look over that right shoulder. Breath in here. Exhale, unwind. Bring hands to the ground. Let's shift the hips back and bring this right leg towards straight. Good, and you might have to adjust a little bit. No, and you might have to grab onto your blocks or a prop of some sort. Notice how your hips kind of want to shift left. Try to keep your hips centered. As you're lifting those right toes, try to have them go straight up. Don't let the foot curl in or curl out. And then just extend your spine forward. You're thinking about heart beyond that right big toe. So take a nice big deep breath in here. And then go ahead, put that foot back on the ground. Walk your hands forward. Downward facing dog. Feet about hips width distance apart. Chest pulls back, lift the tailbone. Inhale, let's rock forward to a high plank. And then exhale, just shift back, downward dog. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale, shift back. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale, shift back. 100 teeny tiny little steps. Walk those feet to the top of the mat. Try to get kind of light with those steps. Notice if they kind of thud or are heavy. Good, forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up, shoot those arms up. Exhale, bend the elbows, open up the chest. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, fold. Hands on the shins. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, let's take the right foot back. Get it into a nice deep lunge. Right knee's coming down, left knee over left ankle. Hips press forward. Keep the hips forward as you inhale, sweep the arms up and back. Prayer hands. Push into that right leg, stabilize there. Inhale, lengthen the spine, lift chest to thumbs, and then twist. Good, so you're kind of seeing how far you can go with the torso, then maybe get a little help from the arms. Again, you can always kind of use the other arm to get you in tight here. Inhale, lengthen the spine, exhale, twist. I'm really working to try to get that sternum, that heart center up towards my thumbs. Breathe here. And then exhale, unwind, hands to the floor. We're going left leg back, or sorry, hips back to straighten the left leg. Left toes come up. Feel free to use props on your hands. Drop that left hip down in space. Bring your chest forward. Collarbones are open and wide, spine is long. Check in with this foot. Notice if it turns in or out, or if it kind of slides over to one side. Try to get those toes to point straight up to the sky as you pull that left hip back in space. And then go ahead and put that foot back on the floor. Lift the back knee. We're going to step back into our downward dog. This time we're going to walk our hands a bunch of teeny tiny little steps. Hands back to the feet. Forward fold here. Give the head a little shake now. Let's actually take the hands, interlace the fingers behind the head. Wrap your elbows in towards one another. And you're not actively pulling very hard. You're just letting the weight of your arms give you a little bit of traction in the back of the neck. And maybe rock a bit front to back here. Noticing how that's going to change where you feel sensation in this forward fold. Good. Go ahead and bring your fingertips back to the floor. Teeny tiny, actually, let's come up. Inhale, come all the way up. Scoop the arms up. Bend the elbows. Exhale, little back bend, heart open. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, fold. Palms on the shins. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold. Let's walk the hands out. Try to bring your hands flat on the mat as you walk, which might mean you're going to have to bend your knees a good bit to get there. Downward facing dog. From here, inhale, right foot lifts. Exhale, step the right foot all the way forward, top of the mat. Left knee is coming down. Uncurl the toes. Actually, foot can be whatever position feels better for your foot. Hips anchor forward towards the top of the mat. Inhale, let's sweep the arms up. Exhale, prayer hands. Inhale, lift your heart towards your thumbs. Exhale, we're going to twist again. Left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Rotate the spine. Shoulders drop back. Inhale, come back up to center. Let's re-extend the arm. Exhale, bring the hands behind the back. Interlace your fingers. Knuckles go back. Chest lifts up. Collarbones are wide. Exhale, we're going to straighten that right leg. You might have to shift a little. Lift those right toes up. And you're going to try to do a forward fold here. It's a little wobbly and unstable. Think about drawing your belly button towards your spine. Chest forward. Knuckles come up. Good. Breathe here. If you feel really wobbly, put a little more bend into that right knee. But as best as you can, right leg is straight. Right toes are pointing straight up. Back of the neck drops down. Knuckles lift up. And then go ahead, release your hands. Bring them onto the floor. Lift the back knee. Let's take the right foot down onto the floor. Inhale, cartwheel up, come into a warrior two. Drop your shoulders down. Pull your left hip forward. Lift your right hip up. So we feel lots of work in the legs. Inhale, lift the right arm up to the sky. Exhale, we're gonna straighten that right leg, reach back, and then find your triangle. Right hand comes down, left hand goes up. Notice if either shoulder is rolling forward, roll them back, extend the spine. Take a nice big deep breath in here. And then exhale, release your hands to the floor. Step back, high plank. Downward dog. Inhale, come forward to your plank. Exhale, press back to your downward dog. Inhale, come forward, high plank. As exhale, press back, downward dog. Left foot lifts up, inhale. Exhale, bring it up to the top of the mat. Then plant that foot down and then bring the knee down. Ground into that back leg, hips forward, chest starts to open up. Legs stay on the ground firm. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, we're gonna do prayer hands. Lengthen the spine. Lift heart towards thumb. Exhale, twist. Can you hook this right elbow outside the left knee? Draw your shoulders back in space. Heart towards your thumbs. Take a big deep breath in here. Exhale, let it go. Bring your hands to the floor. Actually, no, we're bringing hands to heart center. We're gonna sweep the arms up again. Bring them back behind your back. Interlace your fingers. Try to do the opposite line up of fingers. So you have the other index finger closer to your hips, and then you're gonna slide those arms down. You're bringing them towards straight. They might not go all the way to straight. And then we're gonna exhale, shift this left leg towards straight. Try to lift the left toes. Get your stability while you're up tall. And then you're gonna try to hinge forward. Left hip pulls back. Chest reaches forward. Left toes are pointing straight up to the sky. Maybe the hands come away from the hips. Back of the neck is long. I almost lost my balance. It happens. And then go ahead, release hands to the floor. Come forward, lift that back knee. We're gonna shift the right heel towards the ground. Inhale, bring yourself up to a warrior two. Right hip pulls forward, left hip lifts up. Keep that left knee moving towards the pinky toe side of your foot. Bring your arms out to a T. Just get nice and long here. Arms are long, spine is long, legs are long. Inhale, left arm lifts up. Exhale, we're straightening that left leg, getting as long as you can. And then coming forward, left hand down, right hand up, triangle pose. Both shoulders move back in space. Whichever direction you're looking, which could be ceiling, horizon, or floor, make sure your neck is in a position that doesn't cause tension. Breath in here. Exhale, bend the knee, bring the hands to the floor. Step back, downward dog. Take a little walk. Walk your feet towards the back of your mat. Forward fold. And then roll yourself up to stand. Sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, bend the elbows, open up the chest, teeny tiny little back bend. And then exhale, just bring hands through heart center and pause here for a moment. From this mountain pose, I'm gonna turn sideways. I want you to release your arms behind your back. Interlace your fingers. So I'm bending my elbows enough that I can get my thumbs to kind of press on my sacrum, my low back, okay? And I'm gonna turn back to face you. I'm gonna mirror you all for this, left and right, so you can kind of follow. So you wanna stand on your right leg and open up your left leg into a tree pose, okay? So with our hands here, you can kind of feel how the pelvis shifts. Keep your hands pressing into that sacrum so that when you open your left knee out to the side, you'd feel if your hips move over to the left. Try to keep your hips square to, if you're facing the top of your mat or the side, keep them square. Push those thumbs into your sacrum, pull your elbows back in space, get taller. Good. All right, and now we're gonna kind of open up our chest and lengthen our spine in this tree pose. This action kind of always reminds me of like an old school water pump. So what I want you to do is get really tall. The legs are gonna be stable. So you're pressing that right foot into, your left foot into your right leg. And then you're gonna extend your arms long behind you, lift your chest, and then bring your arms in towards your body. So then they help stabilize and help get you longer. Let's do that again. Thumbs press into the sacrum, pull the elbows back, lift your chest, extend your arms out long, and then squeeze them into the body. Good. We're just getting that spine a little bit longer. If you want extra balance challenge, you can bring that foot up higher. I can't today, I'm so unstable. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Press your thumbs into your sacrum, pull your elbows back, lift your chest, draw those arms back, look up. Good. Okay. Breathe here. Try to keep all that openness in the chest, and then just bring your arms out to the side. Palms facing forward or up, whatever makes more sense in your shoulders. Good. And then we're just going to rotate the spine a little. Swing loosely. Whoops, I'm just knocking things off the walls here. Rock a little bit side to side. Maybe look at something that's not moving for a little extra stability. Good. And then come back to center. Resist the urge to like fidget and shake out your feet. Just press your feet into the floor. Notice how that standing foot probably feels a lot different from the foot that was floating. We have a tendency to like grip with our toes. Spread the toes out nice and wide. So now you're going to stand on your left foot, and you're going to bring your right knee into that tree pose position. Take your arms behind your back. Side view. Elbows press into the sacrum. Thumbs press into the sacrum. Elbows pull back. This automatically is going to start opening up the chest. Think of our heart bench that we started in. Then you want to extend the arms and feel like as the knuckles go back, the chest lifts up, hands are out, and then we zip them into the body for a little extra stability and to get even taller. Because what we don't want to happen is we don't want the butt to go back and the low back to arch when you do this. So do a couple more of those. Thumbs on the sacrum, pull the elbows back in space, lift the chest, knuckles reach away, and then arms zip into the body, get as tall as possible. Think belly button back to the arms. One more of those. Elbows pull back, chest opens. Hands reach out, and then zip them in. Pull the belly button back to the spine. From here, we're going to open up the arms. Just let them float up nice and light. Palms forward or up. And then can you softly move the torso from side to side? It's wobbly. It's unstable. The bottom half of your tree is really strong and firm and planted, and the upper half has to be light. I'm falling. Okay, come back to stand, come into your mountain. Take a pause. We're going to do a little more tree stuff. It is maybe influenced by tornadoes and hurricanes. But if you think about the stability of our tree poses, and we have a lot of different variations, the lower body has to be strong. Most trunks are bigger and wider and fatter on the bottom, and the upper branches have to be a little bit soft and light. Okay, we're going back to another tree. You're going to stand on your right foot, and you're going to bring that left leg up. Hips are open, collarbones are wide. This one I would say is less balanced, so if you wanted to play with bringing your foot up a little higher, you can. Okay, we're going to do arms up overhead. Look at something that's not moving. Your left hand is going to grab your right hand, and you're going to do a side bend here. So hips are gonna shift to the right. You can fall out of it. Come back in, hip shift right. Knee and elbow go left. Breathe into that right side. I'm falling all over the place today. So you have permission to fall too. See how big you can make that bend until you fall. Well, what we don't want is a very large crack. Just a nice big bend. Breathe in, open up the ribs. We're still on that same side. Good. From here, we're going to place both feet back on the ground. Take a forward fold. And maybe take a little movement side to side. Roll on up. Do the other side. So you're going to stand left. Bring that right foot up. Play with the position. High or low. Inhale, bring your arms up in space. Look at something that's not moving. Left hand is grabbing, right hand is grabbing left wrist, and you're gonna side bend. So now you're really trying to open up your left side. Elbow and knee go right as hip and shoulder and rib cage go over to the left. Breathe there, fall out, come back in. If you can hold it for the whole time, fantastic. But don't be very rigid in that hold. I want you to kind of work on pushing the how far you can bend, which makes it more likely that you'll fall over a little bit. And making sure that you can really breathe and open up through this left side of the rib cage. Good. And then both feet to the ground. Rotate yourself towards the floor. Come into a nice deep forward fold. Give your head a little shake, yes. Then no. You know what, while we're down here, I want you to grab a yoga toe lock. So you're gonna pick up your right foot, take your first two fingers in your thumbs, loop them around the toe, then do that other toe. Most people need a little bend in the knees to get onto those toes. Some people need a really big bend in the knees. So bend your knees enough that you can get the toes. And then you're gonna rock your weight forward, lift your hips up, drop your head down. Lift the toes up, or kind of pull against the toes. Lift your tailbone up, drop your head down. Breathe here. And then inhale, extend your spine. Wherever you are on your mat, we're kind of all over the place. You're just gonna walk yourself out to a downward dog. Take a big deep breath in that downward dog. Press the heels towards the floor, the tailbone towards the sky. Exhale, bring your knees to the ground. Uncurl your toes. Tops of the feet down. So you're gonna do a little child's pose twist. You're gonna shift your hips way back in space. Take your right arm, palm faces up, thread it under your left shoulder. And again, you might want, there's all sorts of things you can do with blankets or blocks. Under your head, under your hand. So it's just easier to kind of relax into this. And then you're going to switch sides. So if you're using props, shift them around a little bit. Right arm is forward, kind of off the ground. Left palm faces up. Slide that through. You're bringing the left side of the head to the floor or the block. Reach your right arm in front of you. Trying to keep the neck relaxed. And using that breath to either open up
And then the back side of the left shoulder to rib cage. Or maybe underneath the right armpit a little, wherever you might feel this more. And then unwind. Just come into a child's pose. Both arms in front. Head down. Take a couple soft, easy breaths here. And then you're going to come up from that child's pose and come to sit long ways on your mat. If your hips are tight, grab a pillow or your blanket and put it underneath your hips so your hips are a little bit elevated. Everybody can kind of take that flesh right on the bottom of their butt and kind of pull it back a little so that when you're sitting here with legs wide, you kind of roll forward onto the bottom of the pelvis. And you're just going to start fingertips on the floor behind you with the spine. Extend. Just coming into this nice seated wide-legged seat. So depending on a lot of things, bones, muscles, joints, your feet and your knees might be pointing different directions in here. I'd like you to try to have your knees and your toes pointing up as best as you can. And then just press your hands into the ground and get tall. Try not to let the shoulders roll forward or scrunch up. Just sit up nice and tall. Good. Then we're going to take the left hand. Sorry, I'll mirror you again. You take your right hand, bring it in front of you so you can turn your torso towards your left leg. That right leg should stay where you left it. Toes still pointing up. And then you're going to walk your hands down that left leg. As you go lower, the torso kind of wants to turn open. I want you to keep your torso moving towards your leg. Right ribs towards the left inner thigh and fold. Back of the neck nice and long. Some of you might be able to grab feet here. I actually like using the floor because you can really kind of get some resistance from the floor, create a little torque so you can twist the body. Whereas if you have your leg and you start to pull, you're going to move your leg too. So this just moves the upper body. Walk your hands back up. Make sure both of those bottom sitting bones are on the floor. And then turn yourself towards your right leg. You're just rotating your spine. Sit up tall to start. Might be harder to move the second direction, so you might have to shift just a little bit. And then when you feel like you're as tall as you can and you're as twisted as you can, you're going to walk your hands towards that right foot. Left foot stays up, right foot stays up. Use the floor to help you turn. Your left ribs are going towards your right inner thigh. Two more easy breaths here. And then we'll come back to center. So you're going to bend your right knee. You're going to kind of bring that right foot. You're shooting towards the sitting bone. So it's kind of not going right into the middle of the pelvis, and it's definitely not going onto that left leg. I didn't say strap when I said props at the beginning, but some of you might want to use a strap in this pose for kind of wrapping around that left foot. So you really kind of, oftentimes in this pose, the goal is like, I want to be able to get a hold of my foot. For today, I don't want you to worry about getting a hold of the foot. The strap can help, but it's really more about how you can move your upper body as we keep the lower body nice and stationary, just like we were doing in our moving tree poses. So to start, you're going to put your left hand on the floor and you're going to push down. If the floor seems far away, you can use block. Actually, Let's have our block. I'm gonna change my mind. Just keep your hand on the floor. Pick up your right arm, lift it up, and I want you to push into that left hand and rotate towards your right knee. So you're opening up your chest. Good. From here, we're then gonna hinge towards that left foot. So the cover of the Yoga Journal version of this pose, this right hand catches those left toes. That might not be what happens today. You might be, if you're really struggling to get over, you can put that strap around that foot and in your right hand and use that a little bit. But for right now, I want you to just think about how can I get more open space on this right side so I can lean to my left. And then how much rotation can I get by pushing into that left hand and rolling the right shoulder back and my chest towards the sky. And then actually be able to breathe here while you're doing it. 3 more breaths. Good, go ahead, come up. Just take your left leg, swing it forward. So now your right foot touches your left thigh. And then fold over that leg. So just coming into our traditional Janu Shirshasana. What we did is Parvrita. That's the rotated. If we had the whole day to spend, I bet all of you could actually grab your foot or get pretty darn close. But it takes a long time to open that all the way up. And then slowly come up. Let's switch legs. So you're gonna pull your left knee in and send your right leg out long. Okay. So this foot doesn't come all the way in. It's kind of like out in front a little bit. So that you can really kind of use that as your anchor. So now your right hand is going on the floor. Right sitting bone drops down to the floor, and you're gonna push into that right hand to help you start to rotate left. Lift the left arm up. How open can you get? You really want to turn your sternum towards that left knee. And then when you're ready, you're going to start the side bend. Can you get your right ribs down towards your right thigh as you reach overhead with that left arm? Push right hand into the floor. Rotate the chest up. There's a lot of directions here. Basically though, your legs are really firm on the floor and you are trying to extend your spine as you rotate it. Your top shoulder, that's your left shoulder, is sliding down your back. Right hand presses into the floor to help get more of that rotation. Can you lean a little further? Can you reach? Still keeping those right toes up to the sky. Big deep breaths, open up that side of the rib cage. And then go ahead, come on out of it. Just swing right leg forward and fold over. Couple of slow, easy breaths. Roll yourself up to sit. We're gonna do the 2 soles of the feet together. So usually when we do Baddha Konasana, we pull them in really tight. Go ahead and let those feet come forward. Lift your chest up and then fold. Good. Let me give you a side view for a moment. For the start of this, I want you to keep your spine long and see how far you can go with a nice long spine. And then when you can't go any further, maybe the spine rounds a little. Some of you might be able to get towards your feet. That one. Sure enough, a little more storming happening. If you can't get all the way down to your feet,
putting a prop on your feet and letting your head rest can be good. And again, we get that idea of that thinking part of the brain pressing against the prop, maybe a little rock side to side. Good, and then you're gonna come up. This is so poetic, the starting of the storm right now, because our last pose, what we're kind of working towards in some ways, is, I'll tell you the theory of it when we get it and we're holding it. You're gonna take your two fingers and your thumbs and you're gonna wrap them around your big toes in that yoga toe lock, just like we did in the forward fold. Spine long. Heels start together and you're gonna lean yourself back to get your feet off the floor. And you're kind of coming into this hover point. Now, some of you might be able to extend your legs out and bring them back in. The torso is now like the trunk of our tree. The torso is holding your stability and your legs are going out to the side. I forget what the name of this pose is. It's got a really cool name. I think it starts with a V. But the idea is this is kind of like the flower blossoming in the swamp. You know, all of those kind of lotusy type flowers that grow in dirty, dingy, dark, chaotic places, like storms. And then they kind of open up into these beautiful things. So just play with, in your body, having that stability in the torso. The torso becomes the trunk. You might be able to do one leg at a time. If two, bulge you over. Oh, these look really great, everyone. And then if you haven't fallen over yet, how far out can you sweep that one leg? I'm about to fall. How far out could you sweep two legs? Play with that for a moment, and then you're just gonna, once you're finished, once you kind of get both sides, two soles of the feet together. I just want you to hold on to the outer edges of your feet. Lift your chest. Heart comes forward, get nice and long. And then go ahead, bring your feet to the floor. Nice, easy forward fold. Big deep breath into the back of the body. And then go ahead, bring yourself up, and you're gonna set yourself up for your Shavasana pose. Blocks or blankets might feel good. Oops. Underneath the knees. Especially after we just did a couple of pretty big hamstring stretches. So this might feel good. Something on your pelvis for extra grounding. When everything is stormy, extra grounding is helpful. Another option would be a really small pillow or a blanket underneath the base of the head so the chin comes down towards the notch of the throat.
Slowly start to walk the feet in, bending the knees, and then drawing them up towards the chest. Make a few little circles with your ankles in one direction, then in the other. Draw your forehead up toward your knees, come into a nice tight little ball, and rock a bit from side to side. And then you're going to roll all the way over to one side. Make a little pillow with your hands. Just take one more precious moment here. And then you're going to bring yourself up to sit. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Nice, big, spacious reach, hands through heart center. Lift your heart up toward your thumbs, and then exhale, fold forward. Sealing in all of our practice. Namaste. Thanks, everyone.